welcome to our Friday show. It's Inside News on the mark, and once again I've got Shaheel with me. He's going to help me get through this card. Obviously, after last weekend's racing, we had the double header. It's not big fields this week, and I think it looks like it could be a favourites day, Shaheel. There's a couple of favourites that stand out this particular meeting, but we'll go through the card as best as we can. Hopefully we find you a couple of winners, and let's start off with race 1. It is a 990 rating, 025. Never easy to find the winners in these 025s or these 020s. I see Stockbroker and Philosopher are joint favourites. I'm personally going to lean towards number 4, Philosopher, purely because of his 990 form. He has run in the 990 in a rating of 31 and 36. And that was quite a good run behind Rahib. He's drawn 1. I just think he's a little bit better distance suited than Stockbroker. Obviously, Stockbroker, very good barrier trial on Tuesday morning with the blinkers, but I don't know, I just think 1,000 is going to be too short. What do you, I'm sorry, not 1,000, 990. Shaheel, 990 Stockbroker, are you
no, not really. I'm not really, because I'm not sure that the 990 will suit him. The way he won his races on 1400 looks to be like he was asking for more distance. They did try him on 1600 last time. He didn't quick him that well. His barrier on Tuesday was really nice with the blinkers. But I don't think that the 990 will be his ideal distance. I'm also leaning towards Philosopher. I mean, his form on 1000 meter is really good. He's won on 1000 back in South Africa. He drops to a 0.25 for the first time. Barrier 1 should be helpful, so I'm also going to go for Philosopher.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to look back at, I think it was the previous week where we saw My Captain put up such a good gallop with the blinkers. And he ran in the 990, he ran no sort of race. I'm not saying, obviously every horse is different. I just don't think Stockbroker is an out-and-out sprinter. Therefore, I'm going to go with Philosopher. One also I want to talk about is number 8, Bruschetta. If you go back to his form last year, he won a rating, he won in a merit rating 36 over 1,000 meters, and he's possibly the quickest horse in this race. Obviously, Isma Party has shown a little bit of speed, but that was over a little bit further.
Yeah, sure. Drawn 9.
Bruschetta, 2 kilos off his back, drawn 3. Must have a chance. What do you think?
Definitely. With the apprentice claim and draw free, he should be able to run into the money. But you can't ignore the fact that It's My Party has been so consistent in his last run. Probably the 990 might be a bit too short for him, but I went back and watched his racing against Stone Clipper. He couldn't lead that day, but he still fight on courageously in the closing stages of the race. If he can lead, which will be tough on barrier 9, he could have a chance.
Yeah, I personally think Bruschetta is going to be a little bit quicker than him. I like the fact that he's got 55.5. In fact, I think Bruschetta must have a big chance. Let's give our trophy. I'm going to go for Philosopher to beat Bruschetta, and maybe it's a toss between a coin between It's My Party and Stockbroker, but I'm not too keen on Stockbroker, I must be honest.
I think he'll be finishing on strongly, so I'm going to go for Segeon. So Philosopher, Stockbroker, and It's My Party.
Okay, great. That's the first race. Second race, 1500 meter benchmark 31, and this is my value bet. I really like the look of number 3, My Captain. We just spoke about him. I think obviously last week that 990 was hopelessly too short for him. He was never in the race, and he actually didn't even run on much either. But I think if you go back to that run on the 17th of June this year, when he got beat just less than a length by that horse, Why Wouldn't You? We saw Why Wouldn't You come through on the weekend. He won a very good race, and I think My Captain, if he just reproduces that form on the second leg of the 3L Championship, he has to be better than these horses. My Captain. I'm going to make him my value bet. Before we go through the card, let me ask Shaheel what his thoughts are on My Captain.
Yeah, it was disappointing actually last week. We didn't expect such a bad showing from his part. Robbie Fred takes over. I've seen him at track work. He's kept a good condition for the second week in a row. Blinkers goes off. That's a good thing, you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think they probably tried the blinkers. They probably tried him with the blinkers, but obviously he never liked it. I mean, even though he never had the pace in 1,000, he should be at least running on, you know. And he didn't. He didn't run on at all. Although his finishing time wasn't that bad, but I think he's going to be a lot better suited to the 1500 meter My Captain. And he's just got. He looks a little bit like Red Line Captain, still very green, and he's a captain now. And I think he's just getting a little bit better every time with racing. I think ignore that last run, but have a look at that run behind. Why Wouldn't You? I think it's better than anyone else has done in this field.
That's right. We can't ignore the favorite Chances Newsman. That was a cracking run last time against Captain Spandicele. It took a great Robbie Fred to catch him on the line. He's drawn 2. JP can place him wherever he wants. I do know the fact that you don't like when people got good draws and they try to follow a bit much more handy. What do you think is going to follow a bit more handy?
Personally, I don't think Newsman can. He just hasn't got that speed.
Start.
I mean, he was drawn 2 last time, and he just couldn't really follow with him. But he runs. He's really turned the corner, this horse. You know, last year I think it took him 12 runs before he won, and last year he was just getting placed all the time and always just finishing too late. But he's really done well as a 5-year-old number 4 Newsman. Like Shaheel said, that was a great run last time. I thought he was a winner. I think it was just Robbie Fad that probably made the difference in the end with Captain Cela. And I think obviously you got to respect Newsman. He must be a big runner. What else you like, Shaheel?
I like Afdik actually. It was a top work on Tuesday. His gallop. It was quite a strong field last time. It was the same field as Newsman. And we're not sure about the fact of the 1500 meters. We did speak about that last time when he ran. He's again on a 1500 meters. He has to overcome the draw too, and I think last time he followed a bit too back. If this time he can get into a handy position, I think Afdik should be running on nicely.
Okay, all right. Well, you like Afdik. I don't. I must be honest with you. I don't like the horse over 15. I think he's a decent horse. I just think he's a. But I mean, obviously that's what racing's all about. It's all about opinions, and that's the Shaheel's opinion about Afdik. I personally think that was a good run from Kimberley last time behind Midnight Oracle. Midnight Oracle looks like he's a decent horse, so you got to respect him. Unfortunately, he's got a bad draw to contend with. Wild Holiday heavily back last time, didn't show anything, and then I suppose we have to touch on Raj Ramdeen's horse Bonjour Baby. Drawn 1, he's got 2 kilos off his back. That was an excellent debut behind British Pound, but we were saying off air that British Pound form hasn't really stood up.
Yes. His work on Tuesday was good though. I think he's one of the best from Raj stable, but we can't ignore his chances with the 2 kg claim and barrier 1. So let's keep an eye on him.
Where are you going to go? What's your trifecta?
Newsman, Afdik and Captain My Captain.
Okay, I'm going to go Captain My Captain. He's my value bet. I reckon at 600 there's a lot of value for Captain My Captain. I think he just has to get it together, and he could pull this off. So I'm going to go Captain My Captain. Newsman, I'm going to go Kimberley because he's been running quite well lately. So I'll go 3, 4, 5 for my trifecta.
Okay.
Right, race 3, 1600 meter, benchmark 41, and when we said it looks like it could be a favourites day, can you see anything beating Perplexing?
No, not really. The way he cruises in the last 600 meters, that is so impressive.
It is very impressive. I'll tell you, I was calling this race last time he ran, and I thought, well, he looks like he's in a bit of trouble, Perplexing. He was
15 lengths back.
Yeah, and Daniel was sort of at work at him, but when he quickens up, wow, he's got a magnificent turn of foot, this horse Perplexing. I reckon his horse is going straight to the top. It's always interesting to see comments on Facebook. It's almost like people want to see him get beat, but I can't see him getting beat, Perplexing. He's drawn 1. Daniel Stackhouse knows the horse well. It's a mile. And I think he's going to be a tough horse. In fact, I don't think he will get beat. I won't say he's going to be tough to beat. He won't get beat, in my opinion. Obviously, West Coast Warrior, that was a cracking run last time. Probably Shaheel Ayadassen's not his best ride of his career, but like I said, I'm not knocking him. He's still learning his straight. He's still a youngster claiming. I think he could have maybe just pushed on and gone to the front with West Coast Warrior. But he's coming down from an 1850 to a 1600.
Yeah. Yes. But I believe this race should be between these two, West Coast Warrior and Perplexing. It is the first leg of the pick 6, so you could probably take a chance and bank on number 5, Perplexing. Yeah, I tell you what, it'll be a nice bet here if you take, that Exacta is not a bad bet. That Perplexing, West Coast Warrior. I know last week I fancied 2 horses very. Why wouldn't you? And Blow in the Box. And that Exacta paid 270 rupees. I'm not saying this one will, but maybe that's not a bad bet. Take a Exacta, bank a Perplexing, West Coast Warrior to run second. Right, race 4, 1500 meter, benchmark 31, and once again I see this another horse that's going to be quite tough to beat, Tower of Wisdom. But I tell you, it could be an upset result, is because he is having his second run, but have a look at the horse he ran behind. He ran behind Henry Tudor. He stepped out and won that 990 so comfortably. If he doesn't need that second run on the syndrome, he's obviously the best horse in the race, and there was a lot of talk about this horse before his last run. I don't know if was he backed slightly, 19-1 into 13-1. But I saw this horse in training, and I tell you, he's absolutely flying. He looks like a nice horse, and he's got those horses, those colours of Philip Henry, the old Philip Henry colours. We'd love to see them back in the winner's box. I don't know if anyone knows. Philip is not very well at the moment. He's gone over to France. His health isn't so great, so hopefully this horse wins, and it makes him feel a lot better. What do you think of Tower of Wisdom? It was a great debut. Like like you said. The thing is, the most impressive thing, he dropped the bait at the 600, I think, and we thought that he wouldn't even be in the top 3. The way he picked up in the last closing stages, like 200 meters, there was 2 horses, and he just found the gunner quick and nicely. If he can do that again tomorrow, I believe he'll be a big runner.
Yeah, he's by that stallion Silvano, and he's such a good stallion that his offspring are really well. And then if you even before that, you go back to that run in the Cape Classic behind Tapper-North, who went on to win the Guineas. He's a top horse, and you would imagine that if Tapper-North was in this race, he could run backwards and he'd beat this field.
He even drops in class from a benchmark of 36 to a 31. I think they're going to have to carry 61.5.
Yeah, but he's a big horse, so he's a nice big. He weighs 480 kilos. You just have to have a look at the betting. He's at 230 or 13 to 10. Then the next horse, Volatile Energy, is at 400, and then you can write your own ticket for the rest of them. That's why I'm a little bit worried. Like if Tower of Wisdom does get beat, well then anything can win it, because there's some horses that are just sort of really irregular and don't always run the same sort of races. So you're going to have to take a chance. You're either going to bank a Tower of Wisdom, or you're going to load, especially if you're an exotic bet player like a pick 6 or pick 8. But I'm going to stick my neck out and hope he doesn't suffer from that second run syndrome. I think he's good enough to win this.
Yeah, that's right. If we got to speak about the dangers, what do you think?
Well, if you speak about the dangers, we'd probably be here all day. But I reckon Volatile Energy, he's probably got the best form. He's got a good draw as well. He's been in good form lately. But, Captain Cela, Red China, is that the same sort of caliber as a horse like Henry Tudor?
I don't think so,
Yeah, I don't think so either. But like I said, it's going to be one or the other. He either wins or anything else can win it.
Yes.
Yeah. Tough race, the fourth race, probably the toughest race on the card if you take out that favourite. Right, let's talk about race number 5, 1400 benchmark 61. One of my favourite horses is back in the 1400. That's Al Mariachi. I'm really glad to see him back in the 1400. I still didn't think he'd get beat last time, but I just knew it wasn't going to be easy because he's got so much speed, this horse. He was running with horses that had a lot of speed as well and a little bit quicker than him, and he just found himself behind them pulling very, very hard, and he had no sort of finish. And remember, go back to when he won from that bad draw. He beat that horse 7th Plane. 7th Plane came out and won on the weekend, and that form is very good. He's a very good horse, this Al Mariachi, and I think he's going to be a tough horse to beat.
I do agree with you. Very special horse, Al Mariachi. Given the fact that Step to Fame is in this race, I'm not sure if he can lead, and even Step to Fame is drawn Barry 1. So I went back to check his South African form. There was a race where he won. He followed in 2nd position that day, and he was quite handy. There was a horse called Sir Frenchy who went to the front. He settled nicely in 2nd position and quickened well to beat Sovar and Sniper Shot in the end. So if Step to Fame is much more quicker at the start, I believe he can sit in 2nd position and fire in the straight.
Yeah.
What do you think will be the best tactics with him?
Well, I would imagine. Listen, he's got so much speed, this horse. I mean, you had to see.
Got it done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's probably Step to Fame is going to be a little bit of a thorn in his side. But if Step to, I mean, you always have to have two plans when you go into a race. You know, obviously, he's going to have to depend on the jump. He's going to have to see exactly what's happening. If Step to Fame's jumped and gone, well, he's going to have to settle him up into 2nd place. But I think Al Mariachi, if he's not sort of forced early on, and he is slotted in behind Step to Fame straight away, I don't think he will pull, and he's got a good kick, this horse Al Mariachi. I reckon he's going to be the horse to beat. Let's talk about dangers. What do you like?
I think this is like the 4th one also. If Al Mariachi doesn't win, anyone can win, I believe.
Yeah.
Because the fact is, I did like Jude West last time to beat him. He did finish 2nd in front of him. I don't know if he'll stay at 1400 meters. I think it's going to be his first try over 1400. No, actually, he'd run twice over 1400, but he didn't do too well. He was 7th behind Jolly Roger and Yankee Captain. The question mark is the distance, I believe.
Yeah, I think he's, for me, Sudvest is an out-and-out sprinter. The 990 suits him.
Yes.
What about Turbulent Air? He that was a very good debut behind Lee Star. I know then it wasn't a great run behind Al Mariachi.
Had some issues, I think.
And then he had a couple of problems in that race, and then down to, well, it was a mile last time.
Yes.
Could have been a little bit far. I think Turbulent Air, if he reproduces his South African form and that run behind Lee Star, he must probably be a danger. And then obviously Doobie Snappy, he's got some good form in this sort of category as well. But I reckon Al Mariachi is going to be too good for them. It's nice to see Akshay Balu get a nice ride like this. He is riding well. He's riding well. He's riding full of confidence. So you've got to respect the chances of Al Mariachi.
Yes.
Right, let's move over to the feature race. It is a Group 2. It's the Mark Colonel Draper Cup, 1500 rating 60 plus, and we see the return of the Princess Margaret and the Duchess winner. In fact, the leading horse of the year, Baritone.
Yes.
I personally would love to see him win it. I think he's a classic horse. I love this horse, Baritone. And obviously, last time it was weight for age race. This time it is a handicap, so he's going to be slightly worse off at the weights with a horse like Hard Day's Night. But Baritone, I tell you, when he wins these races, he wins them so well. He really quickens up beautifully, this horse. He's a good horse. He loves Mauritius. He's going to be carrying top weight, but I think he's worthy of it, and I really like the chances of Baritone. What do you like here, Shaheel?
I'm actually, this is my favorite horse in Mauritius in this race, Ready to Attack. I'm going to go for him as the value bet of the day, actually. This horse is very fresh. I've seen him at Trucker for the past 2 weeks. He's been working really well with some good horses. He runs well fresh. He's run in the Barbet last time. Wasn't so bad. He was in last position throughout the race, and he made up some good ground. He'll be drawn 1. If he can come at them at the end, I believe even with the weight, he's going to have an advantage over horses like 10 Gun Salute or Baritone. I believe Ready to Attack should run a big race.
Okay, so Ready to Attack's your value bet.
Yes.
Okay. Hard Day's Night obviously must have a chance. He's run second to Baritone twice this season, and he is going to be 2.5 kilograms better off this time. I see that if you go back to the run on the 2nd of June, I think he was only, on that run, he's actually only a kilo better off. So personally, I think Baritone can maybe sort of just, he can make up for that weight difference. What about the I wouldn't say younger horse, because he's 5. But what about the sort of the new kid on the block, Cela? Do you like him?
Yeah, I do, because the thing is, when you look at the card, there's no real front runner, and if you can try a tactical race from the front with that featherweight, I think he should be able to have a good chance.
Yeah, he's a good horse, this Cela. I just don't know if he's ready to take on sort of Group 1 and Group 2 material.
Yes.
But I think he's a very good horse, and like you say, he's going to be carrying a kilo over. He's carrying 53 kilos, but he's a decent horse. And I thought Riaz gave him such a good ride last time. I thought he rode him much better than what Richard Oliver rode him. So Riaz knows him well. He's an up-and-coming horse. I remember working with this horse at Post Office. He's a beautiful horse, and he must have a chance.
And obviously, 10 Gun Salute, my maiden pick of last time. He drops from the 2,400 to the 1,500 meters. He's got some top work. I've seen an interview of Robbie Fred during the week. He said that he'll try some new tactics with him this time. I hope it's the same tactics back in South Africa. I don't know if you remember the way he was winning in South Africa. He was starting his engine from the 800 meters. He just has such a long stride, this horse, and I believe if he can try to do the same thing over 1,500 meters, he could have his opponent in danger.
Yeah, I personally think that this horse is going to be a little bit better suited to this sort of distance. I know they've put him over the 2.4
yes.
and the 2,200, but his only win in Mauritius was over 1,650 when he led. And maybe you're right. Maybe they could try and at some point in the race try and steal the race as well. So not a cut and dry race. I'm going to go with the Princess Margaret form. I think that's pretty good form when Baritone, Hard Day's Night. I do like the look of the younger up-and-coming horse. When I say younger, like I said, he's not young, he's 5. Yeah. But he's a sort of horse that's coming up the divisions, and I think with 53 kilos, he must have a chance. So I'm going to go 1, 3, and 7.
Completely different. I'm going to go with my value bet Ready to Attack to beat 10 Gun Salute and for third Baritone. Interesting race, a prep race for the Gold Cup.
Yeah. Okay, the 7th race is a 990, benchmark 36. Final cup, well, he only won 6 days ago, but I can tell you they have freshened him up quite well. He looked very, very well this morning, and he's drawn 1. Manuel Nunes, he's riding nicely. He looks like a decent jockey, and I didn't know him before, but I tell you something, one thing I do find very interesting about this jockey is that he looks like he's a very, very good judge of pace. Yes. And he took Final Cup off to the front last time, and I thought he sort of timed it to perfection, and the Final Cup won a very, very good race. I know you said that you thought that he was taking on stronger this time.
Yes.
I think I disagree with that. I can't see anything really in this race that's going to that's sort of in the same sort of class as Final Cup. There are a couple of sort of horses that obviously Baron Ballet's run some good 1,000-meter races. Kudu slowly starting to come to form. Northern Rebel, well, he doesn't jump, so the 1,000's not going to help him. Yes. But I don't think he's taking on such a stronger field than last time. Shaheel, I know you thought he was taking on. What do you think are his dangers?
Obviously, I thought Baron Ballet was his danger. Listen, I know you don't like when you criticize jockeys. It wasn't such a great ride from Roland Boutanib last time. He got a heavy suspension to that, right?
Yeah.
So let's see how he does this time. But I do agree with you. Final Cup should be able to win this race from barrier 1, but he's carrying top weight this time. It's only 0.5 kgs though. Listen, Final Cup, like you said, he's been kept in a good condition. Manual Nunes, a friend of mine told me that he's got a clock in his mind. He perfectly times his run, even on social network. He's just so good with front runners. You're right, he'll be hard to beat.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like we said earlier on, it looks like a favour's day.
Yes.
If these favours get beat, well, it's going to pay bombs. But I personally can't see Final Cup lose. You know, this looks so well on the weekend,
yes.
and he really he's held his shape well. He looked like head and shoulders above the rest of them last week. And like I said, he looks exactly the same when I saw him this morning. So Final Cup, I reckon he's going to pull it off again.
What's your banker actually? Perplexing or Final Cup?
I'm going to get back to you at the end of this at the end of the show. Right. Right, let's talk about the 8th race. It's a 1850 rating, 0.26. Smallest race on the card, but probably the toughest. I think if you can take out number 6, Seeking the Dream, but then there's an argument for sort of
most of
the other 5 horses, and probably Uncle JB. He's been running good races in this sort of category and over 1850. In fact, his best 2 runs in Mauritius have been over 1850. Unfortunately, he was scratched last time, but I reckon he's going to be cherry ripe this time, Uncle JB. I know they said he had problems eating or whatever.
Yeah, they gave him an appetite enhancer.
That's right, yeah. It's not like I need one of those, but Uncle JB, I suppose that form behind Julia Dar, Kimberly, it's probably a little bit stronger than what the rest have taken on. I just want to mention one horse before I speak to Shaheel. I don't know if you remember, Opportunity was my value bet last week, not last time. And he was so far out of his ground. I'm not blaming anyone. This was a 1400. He didn't have the greatest of draw, but he really was eating up the ground towards the end. And in fact, I reckon 2 more strides, he catches Badawi, and I think Klopper in second that day, if I'm not mistaken. And he was really finishing well. You have to respect his chance, but obviously it's quite a big jump from a 14 up to a 1850.
That's right, and it's his first try over the distance.
That's right, yeah.
And he's always running over 1,000 meters.
That's right. Well, he's a Crusade, and this Crusade are generally sprinters, so maybe he's an exception to the rule. But I just like the way he was running on last time. I'm going to make him the biggest danger to Uncle JB. And then 2, 3, and 5. Well, you can throw a blanket over them last time. They finish all on top of each other. So probably Uncle JB and Opportunity fight it out. What do you think about this race?
I do agree with you. I do believe that Uncle JB will be hard to beat. He drops to 0.26 for the first time. He should be very competitive in this kind of field, and yeah, he should be hard to beat over this kind of distance.
Okay, so what's your trifecta going to be?
Uncle JB, Opportunity, and probably Ice Emperor.
Okay, great. All right, well, that's a wrap. That's the 8 horses. Let's talk about our bankers and our value bets. I'm going Perplexing. I can't see him getting beat Perplexing.
Same for me.
He's going to be my banker. My value bet's going to be my captain at 600. I hope he's still 600 by the time you watch the show. I think he's run a cracker, my captain. Shaheel?
Banker, same, Perplexing, and for value bet are ready to attack.
Okay, great. Well, that's a wrap for us for our 28th meeting. Thank you very much for watching us. We really appreciate all the good comments we get and all the support. Remember, Wednesday we've got Jeu de Gala, where we'll be talking about this meeting, a couple of barrier trials, a couple of sandwork horses, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next Wednesday. Thank you very much. Goodbye, and have a good day's racing. Goodbye.